Wanted to show you what it looks like when the temperature probe is in there and the stir bar is stirring. Notice I position the temperature probe so it's off to the side so that the stir bar can just stir and not have any interference. So this ratio that I'm doing now, I started with 40 milliliters of the base. So this is the fourth run and it'll be 40 milliliters of the base. I just want to get a starting temperature. Now we're back up to right almost where we started the first time. So with 40 milliliters of the base, that means I'm only going to put in 10 milliliters or 20 milliliters of the acid. And again, I'm adjusting the amounts with a pipette so I can make sure that I have as close to exact as we can get. So I would say I'm getting 20.0 milliliters of the acid, and I have 40.0 milliliters of the base. I'm going to have to add a couple drops with a pipette to get the acid right up to 20. Okay, so now I'm adding the acid in, so we should see a temperature change. Oh, and there we go. We're getting a good temperature change, higher than we have before. So that means we're going in the correct direction, having more of the base than the acid. What a beautiful temperature change that is. So I'm just going to wait to see what it levels off at. Okay, it's starting to go down. I'm going to go ahead and press stop. And then I'm going to get the statistics, which is over under Analyze. Statistics, and I always want the latest run. And that tells me that the minimum was 26.31 and the maximum was 35.14. I'm going to have to get my calculator because that's not one I can do in my head. So let's see. Okay. 35.14 minus 26.31. Okay, and our temperature change is 8.83. That's our largest so far. So I'm going to put that on page 2. Go over. Now we use 40 of the sodium hydroxide, and we had a change of 8.83. Okay, for this next run, I'm going to use 50 milliliters of sodium hydroxide. Let me get that in the cup. So we can get a baseline temperature. I'm going to store the latest run. Okay, so we're getting our temperature, and then I'm going to put only 10 milliliters of acid in. on, let me turn my stir bar on. And put in the 10 milliliters of acid. Now we are getting a rise. We're on the pink line this time. Not as much as we got with the 40-20 mixture. So 30.5, when it starts going down, I'll press stop. Okay. I'm going to do statistics for the latest run. And I see that my minimum was 26.1 and my maximum was 30.52. And I'm going to have to use my calculator for that one too. So 30.52 minus 26.1. That gives me a temperature change of 4.42. I'm going to put that on the next page for 50 milliliters of sodium hydroxide. So 50, and our temperature change was 4.42. So now I'm going to auto scale my graph and take a look at it. Oops. Get that last point in. You can see that we go up to here and then we only have 1 point on the right here. We're supposed to have at least 3 points on either side of the high one. So I'm going to try doing, instead of 40, I'm going to do 45 of the base and then 55 of the base so that I can get some points on that side of the graph. Okay, this trial is 45 of the base and 15 milliliters of the acid. I've already got the base in there. Oops, and I need to change this to page 1. Okay, so now we have a red line. And looks like we're starting at 26.3. Gonna turn my stir bar on and go ahead and add the 15 of the acid. Okay, we're getting a nice rise. Looks like we went up to 32.8. Let's see if it goes any higher. Okay, it's going back down. I'm going to go ahead and click on stop. And examine the statistics for the latest run. Where'd it go? 1.5, latest. Okay. 26.22 and 32.82. 32.82 minus 26.22 is equal to 6.6. So I'm going to put that on page 2. So that was 45 milliliters of the base. 45, and that was 6.60. Now you can see now we have another point on the graph, and I think the next one I'm going to do will be 55 of the base.